Elizabeth. I am back with another video. I'm going to be doing a video on reading first lines in books. I'm inspired by someone else. So I'm inspired by another booktubers video where they read the first line in the classics books that they have, and I was like, oh, I want to do that. And then I was like, how do I do that with my books? Because if I did it with my classics, we'd have a problem. Because she had like a nice little stack of classics. I have 3 whole shelves dedicated to classics, so I'm like, doing all of my classics, I should say, won't work. But I decided to pick a bunch of classics, just a random assortment of books that I'm personally, the ones that I'm most excited about out of the ones I have, I guess you could say. And I'm going to read the first line of all of these books. These are just kind of random. We have a bunch of Dickens, because he's my favorite classic author, and just a bunch of random stuff. But these are the books that I'm most excited about or want to read the most out of my many classics. So let's just tell you what all the books are, and then we'll read the first line. So this is my stack. Honestly, we just have a random assortment of books. Some of these I just randomly picked, and some of these I'm like, literally, these are the ones I want to read next whenever I read my next classic. So let's just start with a couple that I just randomly chose because I was like, I should probably read these sometime soon, and I do want to read these. We have The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. I've been interested in this. Well, I haven't, so I've been interested forever, but I've been interested in this for a while, and I should probably read it at some point soon. So there's that. This one, this book specifically doesn't belong to me, but I have it on my shelves. I only chose this book because of the author. I'll read the first sentence in the first story or whatever in here. First book, I guess this is 2 books together or something. But I also don't know if this will be the first book I read by him. I just know that I want to read this author. That is G.K. Chesterton's St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Francis of Assisi. I really want to read something by G.K. Chesterton because my mom is like obsessed with G.K. Chesterton, and he's just apparently an amazing author, and I'm very intrigued and I want to read one of his books, but I'm not only certain on which one I should read. This is just one that I randomly found in my brother's things in the attic, so I stole it and put it on my shelves. But I don't know if this will be the first book of his that I read or not. I don't know which one's worth reading first or not. I should ask my mom. But I will give the first line a read. So next, I decided to go with this one. I've actually been interested in reading this book for literal years. This is The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. Basically, when I was a child, I watched an old movie version of this. I can't tell you what exactly. I know there's like a million different movies, but it's like one of the original movies, the one that has Kiefer Sutherland. Basically, it's the really old version. Here's the picture. I used to love this movie when I was a kid, and when I was a little kid, I had a crush on the D'Artagnan dude. But for literal years, I've been wanting to read this book because I've always liked the story of the Three Musketeers. And actually, when I was younger, like a young teen or something, I picked this up and started reading it, but I didn't get very far. And then I just decided I didn't feel like reading it, and I haven't touched it since. But I really, really, really want to read this novel, so we're gonna read the first sentence. Next, we have another one that I wanted to read for ages. It's called Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. This is just my old edition because this is what I own. But I wanted to read this also for years because I love the movie miniseries. It's technically a miniseries that is done for this. I absolutely love Ivanhoe. That miniseries, I'm going to call it a miniseries, even though I kind of think of it as a movie. I love that miniseries so much. It is so good. It is so well done. Here's a picture of it if you're wondering what I'm talking about. It's not a very widely known thing, but it's amazing. It's just amazing. I love it. And I don't know how close, obviously, that and this are. I think I've heard that they're not like super close or something. I don't know. I think my sister, one of my sisters, or maybe even, yeah, one of my sisters I think have read this or something. My parents might have read this. I don't know. But we love the Ivanhoe miniseries, so I want to read this because of that. Then we have, this is just a random book that I actually received for Christmas this past year, that I heard someone talking about and I really wanted to read it. I don't really know much about it except the title kind of tells you. It's called The Vinland Saga, The North Discovery of America. This is a super short classic as well, but this one just sounded really interesting when I heard the person talking about it. It's a translated thing. It's both a record of a fascinating bit of history and a rich and exciting piece of literature. The two medieval Icelandic sagas translated in this volume tell one of the most arresting stories in the history of exploration, the discovery of America by Norsemen 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus. So I just thought this sounded really interesting. It's super short, and I've been wanting to read this for a while, so I'll read the first line. Next, we have some more well-known authors to you, probably. We have Jane Austen. I've been wanting to read Lady Susan, the Watsons, and Sanditon, so I'm going to read, I want to read all of these, but I think the one that I've really wanted to read the most is Sanditon, but I'm going to start with the Lady Susan because that's the first one in here. But I love Jane Austen. I've read multiple novels physically. Wait, no. I've read Pride and Prejudice, and I've listened to all of the other ones by audio. Or most of them. Persuasion, Mansfield Park, Northanger Abbey, Sense Sensibility, Emma. But I haven't read any of these yet, and I really want to read her other books physically someday, but I know the story for most of them because I've read them by audiobook. Some of them I had a hard time listening to, so I don't really remember their stories that well, but I definitely love Sense and Sensibility. That book is amazing. It's pretty close to Pride and Prejudice, although obviously nothing beats Pride and Prejudice. It's Pride and Prejudice. Then we have 3 Dickens books, because if you don't already know, Dickens is my favorite classic author and one of my favorite authors of all time. I just love his books so much. And first we have Great Expectations. I've owned 3 copies of this book, so it's about high time that I read the first sentence and see what I think, because yeah, and it's just like I want to get through every single book he's ever written, so this is one of the ones I'm more excited about out of the ones that I have on my shelves. I don't have nearly all of his books, but I have quite a few. And then this one, this is Oliver Twist, and my thoughts on this are, first off, I already know the story, and I basically know everything that happens in this. Number one, because I've listened to an audio drama of this years ago when I was younger. We used to have Focus on the Family audio drama of this. We probably still own it somewhere, but and I've watched a mini-series version that has Tom Hardy in it, and the guy that plays Wormtail in Harry Potter, so I don't know if that helps you at all. Here's a picture. And I really enjoyed that, actually. So I know the exact story, but I haven't actually officially read this physically or listened to it in recent years to, like, count it as a read. I'm not sure if I counted this on my Dickens read list, but I am going to read this physically at some point, so I figured I'd put this in here because it's one of the ones I'm more excited about, and the book I'm probably the most interested in, maybe out of this whole stack, except for maybe Three Musketeers, I'm not sure, is The Mystery of Edmund Drood. I actually knew nothing about this book. I just bought this randomly at a bookshop. It was a used book or whatever, but because I'm into Dickens, I want to buy every single book he's ever written, so I just chose this one because it was one of the ones I don't have. And then last year in December, I decided to read the back of this. I knew nothing about this book, and now I'm dying to read this book. It had gotten edit in it. The mystery of Edwin Drood is even more of a mystery than Dickens himself intended, for he died before completing it. Like, what? It's not even that long of a book, but this is one that I've been dying to read, and I keep saying I want to read this, and I still haven't picked it up because I haven't really been picking up any classics besides Les Miserables, which is the longest classic I own, and I haven't been reading it either, but I'm excited. Let's just read the first sentence in all of these books. Let's just start off with a Dickens novel. Since we have 3 of them, we'll start off strong with Dickens, and we'll start off with Oliver Twist. There's a nice little picture. Okay, chapter 1, here we go. Alright, treats of the place where Oliver Twist was born and the circumstances attending his birth. That is the chapter title. Among other public buildings in a certain town, which for many reasons it will be prudent to refrain from mentioning, and to which I will assign no fictitious name, there is one anciently common to most towns, great or small, to wit, a workhouse, and in this workhouse was born on a day and date which I need not trouble myself to repeat, inasmuch as it can be of no possible consequence to the reader in this stage of business. At all events, the item of mortality whose name is prefixed to the head of this chapter. That's one whole paragraph. That is one whole sentence. And sorry for my terrible reading. I'm not the greatest out loud reader. So far, I'm very intrigued. It also doesn't help that I already know the story of Oliver Twist, so I already know that this is going to be pretty high on the list. But we're going to be ranking these books on which one sounds the most interesting to me, and if we're just basing it off of that first sentence and not the fact that I already know what's going to happen in here, I would say that this is pretty high up on the list. I'd give this, I'm not going to give an exact number, but I'm going to put this at the top of the list until I read the next book that will surpass it or not surpass it. Book number 1. Book number 2, we're going to read Lady Susan, first sentence. So we have letters. These are letters. So the first sentence is, okay, letter 1. Lady Susan Vernon to Mr. Vernon, Langford, December. My dear brother, I can no longer refuse myself the pleasure of profiting by your kind invitation when we last parted, of spending some weeks with you at Churchill, and therefore, if quite convenient to you and Mrs. Vernon to receive me a present, I shall hope within a few days to be introduced to a sister whom I have so long desired to be acquainted with. That was a long sentence. I enjoyed that. That was interesting. I'm kind of intrigued to know what she's talking about and like, more. But I think it has to go below Oliver Twist. I'm sorry. I love Jane Austen, but I love Dickens more. So, Dickens surpasses Austen, and this is so far our ranking. Next, we're gonna go with The Canterbury Tales by Geoffrey Chaucer. Let's see. I need to find the first. It's so annoying in all of these classics when they have like 10 different pages, like introduction and table of contents and all this other stuff where I'm just like, I want the book, the actual book. So we have Group A, the prologue. When in April the sweet showers fall and pierce the drought of March to the root, and all the veins are bathed in liquor of such power as brings about the endearing of the flower, when also Zephyrus with his sweet breath exhales in air in every groove, and heath upon the tender shoots, and the young sun His half-course in the sign of ram has run, and the small fowl are making melody that sleep away the night with open eye. So nature pricks them and their heart engages. Then people long to go on pilgrimages, and homeward long to seek the stranger strands of far-off saints hallowed in sundry lands, and especially from every shire's end of England down to Canterbury, they wend to seek holy Blissbury martyr, quick to give his help to them when they were sick. That was kind of long, but it's kind of like a, kind of gives me poem vibes. I'm gonna have to guess it. Yeah, that's how it is all the way through the book. I kind of didn't know that, but there you go. This one was definitely interesting. I'm definitely intrigued, and I still want to read this, but it doesn't surpass Austen, so we're gonna put this below Austen. Now we're going to do G.K. Chesterton. I don't care about introductions written by other people. I care about the stuff written by G.K. Chesterton. Okay, 1. On to Friars. Let me at once anticipate comment by answering to the name of that notorious character who rushes in where even the angels of the angelic doctor might fear to tread. What did I just read? Let's read that again. Let me at once anticipate comment by answering to the name of that notorious character who rushes in where even the angels of the angelic doctor might fear to tread. Honestly, I have no idea what he is talking about right now. Okay. Well, it's very interesting. It's not giving. I'm not feeling that. Not to say that I don't want to read it. I still want to read it, but like, compared to the other books that I've read so far, this one's the least interesting. Let's put it that way. So this is going at the bottom. Next, Great Expectations. Chapter 1. My mother's family name being Parrot and my Christian name Philip, my infant tongue could make of both names nothing longer or more explicit than Pip. That was interesting. I'm very intrigued to know more about Pip. Yeah, I think, where does this fall in the lineup? We're gonna put it below Oliver Twist. For now, it may change. Next we have the Vinland Sagas. This is how short the book is, because all of this isn't the book. Alright. Eric explores Greenland. There was a man called Thorvald who was the father of Eric the Red. That's the first thing. There was a man called Thorvald who was the father of Eric the Red. You know, honestly, that just like screams interesting to me. Also, I remember learning about Eric the Red in history, so like that's also, and this is more of like an actual history type thing than just like fictional thing, so that makes me very intrigued, and I want to know more about Eric the Red. I'm honestly very, very, very intrigued by this one. Where am I going to put this on the lineup? I am not sure. I think this one has to go at number 2 spot. I'm very intrigued by this. I want to know more. Sir Walter Scott's Ivanhoe. This one will probably have less things in the front because it's an actual old book where they just have the book. There is an introduction. Of course, there's always introductions in classics. Chapter 1. Uh-oh, there's a page missing. I didn't even realize that, but yeah. Chapter 1. Girth and Wumba. I know those people. Sorry. The sun was setting upon one of the rich grassy glades in the large forest between Sheffield and the pleasant dawn of Doncaster. I'm here for this. Now I want to read this like immediately. The chapter is called Girth and Wamba. Like, I know those characters from the miniseries. Yes, this is giving everything, and even that first sentence was definitely interesting, and I definitely want to read more of this. So, I'm gonna be... This has to be number one, I'm sorry. I didn't think that this was gonna surpass Dickens, but... And I'm sure once, like, I actually read both books, Dickens is gonna win out in terms of the actual book, but just this is giving everything, and I want to read it, like, immediately. I was not expecting that, I'm gonna be honest, but now I want to read Ivanhoe more than I did, and I already want to read it. So next to last, we're gonna go with The Mystery of Edwin Drood. Hopefully this has a very intriguing start. We got another introduction. The Mystery of Edwin Drood by Charles Dickens. Chapter 1. The Dawn. An ancient English cathedral town? That's a question? That's the first sentence? This makes no sense. Okay, so the first sentence says, an ancient English cathedral town? Question mark. How can the ancient English cathedral town be here? Exclamation point. That sounds like a question. The second sentence sounds like a question, and the first sentence doesn't. And yet, I don't know. He does it again. In the next sentence, he says, the well-known massive gray square tower of its old cathedral? Question mark. How can that be here? Exclamation point. This is so weird. Okay, I officially want to read this. I'm officially very intrigued. I officially, yes, just yes. Do I want to read this more than Ivanhoe? Yes, I think I do. That's number one. Three Musketeers. This is another one that I was really excited for, so we'll see what I think. Okay. The Three Musketeers. Okay, Chapter 1. The Three Presents of M. D'Artagnan, the Father. On the first Monday through the month of April, 1625, the small town of Myung, I can't pronounce that, the birthplace of author of Romance of the Rose, appeared to be in a state of revolution as complete as if the Huguenots were come to make a second siege of La Rochelle. Many of the townsmen... No, sorry. It ends there. Let me read that again. That was rough. Okay, I think we got this. On the first Monday of the month of April, 1625, the small town of Meung, the birthplace of the author of Romance of the Rose, appeared to be in a state of revolution as complete as if the Huguenots were come to make a second siege of La Rochelle. That's intriguing. I'm interested. I already know kind of like the idea of the Three Musketeers, at least based off the many movie adaptations. But so I already really want to read this. But I think this has to be number has to be number 3 on my list. So this is my final ranking of all of these books. I super desperately want to read The Mystery of Edwin Drood and Ivanhoe. Like, I was not expecting that for Ivanhoe, but now I want to read both of these, and honestly The Three Musketeers. Like, I just want to read these really badly now because they sound so interesting. I actually kind of love this idea of reading the first sentence, because then it gives you an if it's the first sentence is good, it gives you like this, oh, now I really want to read this book vibe, which is great because I've been in a reading slump. So hopefully I will get to some of these soon, because now I really want to read specifically these. As for the other ones, I still want to read them, but they're just not quite as high on the list as these are. So I hope you enjoyed this random video, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, comment down below, all of that. And if you're into history, historical fashion, or sewing, check out my other channel, link below. I will be posting some videos hopefully soon on there. I have an 18th century project, and I will see you in the next one. I hope this inspires you to go on your own reading adventures. Bye.